PDB's having some pretzels.
Hello, YouTube. Here we are on the porch on Friday afternoon. It's glorious. It's April 5th. It's about it's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time. And so we got myself and my son, Thomas, and then Paul in the background. He's eating pretzels, which Thomas brought up. Thomas is nearing the end of his week off. They get Easter week off here in the Catholic school system. So the day's festivities today will revolve a bit around, but hopefully not only around. As you know, my ex-wife and Thomas's mother, is wanting to buy a computer, wanting to get re-involved in the computer world, so you can email and do a little surfing of the net and so forth. And I was discussing with her whether to get a MacBook Pro Retina and she was advocating for an iMac 27-inch screen. Now, that's fine. I'm not going to use time. I like the mobility of my MacBook Pro Retina laptop. Well, it's not a laptop. You can't put it on your lap because it doesn't get enough air circulation. But
you can put it on.
Legs are not long enough.
Yeah, well, in any case, no, you don't want all that fuzz going up in those holes. So,
Yeah.
So anyway, I hadn't actually paid any attention to these iMac screens because I didn't want to buy one, so I didn't look at one. I knew what I wanted when Thomas helped me buy this. And so I went down, and it turns out Apple has a second store in Columbus down at this Polaris Parkway joint, which is about a mile and a quarter down the road from me, mile and a half actually. And much to the detriment of the surrounding land and ecology and landscape and environment.
It was already ruined then.
Well, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
It was farmland.
But it was ruined long before it was an Apple store. It was already something else before it was an Apple store.
Oh, I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it was, but it was already.
Well,
ruined.
I don't know. Maybe it was the Chess King or some damn
whatever.
thing.
It was already ruined.
Everybody walking in there with their underwear, their pants hanging down past their underwear. Anyway, so I went out and I had to mail some stuff, and I went out to Walmart and bought some cereal for our People in Need food drive thing, for this month. And then I said, well, let's do some reconnaissance. I went down there, and that was fine. And I'll tell you, what was interesting was I went in there, and it was exactly like the store over at Eastern Town Center over in the east side of Columbus. And, same size, same number of people, same number of products. The place was packed, but, it was placed with, it wasn't packed with people like him. It was packed with people like me and Paul. There wasn't anybody in there other than the staff that was over the age of, that was under the age of 55.
Older folks.
Yes, people like us.
Folks with money.
Well, I don't know.
Folks that can afford it.
Well, obviously.
What's the demographic?
Well,
middle-aged, white, upper middle class people with money.
Well, yes, they were all white.
There you go. Well, of course they were all white.
Well,
this is Polaris.
Well, no. We have I'll tell you, you drive around, it looks kind of like a Ohio State graduation sometimes up here. You've got the whole world. But anyway, but not that day in the Apple store this morning. So, I got to lay my eyes on one of these screens, and I thought, well, hell, I said, what's the pixel density? And this young woman said to me, well, it's half the pixel density of the Retina display. Okay,
Which
fair
means
enough.
she was trying to sell you a Retina display.
Well, no, she wasn't trying to sell me anything because I explained to her I was on a reconnaissance mission for my ex-wife who was wanting to buy a computer.
Did she know you already had one of these?
Yes, I said to her, I said,
Well, there you go.
I've got one of these things. And she says, well, that's a half the pixel density. I said, well, I just want to see it, look at this, just see whether this is going to be appropriate for her. And I thought, this wouldn't be appropriate for her. So, spinning hard drive, rather than flash drive, half the pixel density, 27-inch screen, by the way, is a bit of a misnomer. The cabinet is 27 inches diagonally. But when you stand right up against this thing, this is much smaller than much smaller than what I would think. Now, I didn't have a ruler and measure this, so maybe it is 27 inches diagonally on the screen. I don't know. In any case,
probably about like 20.
in any case, to move along to the point, I called her when I got back, and I said, you're probably right. For your purposes, this is what you want. And she says, oh, I don't want to have to go. Well, I am being nice. She said,
go shopping for this.
She says, I don't want to have to go. No, fine. I said, I don't blame you. I don't want to do it either, but I'm willing to do it. So,
thousands of dollars on something that's sight unseen.
I said, do I have your authorization to buy one of these things, and then a LaserJet printer and so forth? And she says, yes. I said, now I'm going to use my card. I'm going to get. I said, now Thomas assures me I can register it in her name, which is really what needs to be done.
And you can.
But I'll get the 1% credit on my credit card for buying it. So it's going to save me $23 on my credit card bill. Well, that's neither here nor there. It's
like your fee.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. So
it's your bonus.
Well, that's okay. And so so Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, I'm going to go down and teach her how to use this thing. Which, it's like the old medical mantra is you see one, you do one, and you teach one. So, Thomas taught me, so I saw one, Then I did one, meaning I learned how, and then I sort of taught Paul a little bit. And now I'm going to teach one. So,
that had not occurred to me.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I like that. See one, do one, teach one. You've completed the chain.
Yes.
You should open up your own business.
And speaking of chain,
not quite.
Now see, here I am, and here's Thomas, and Carter's Thomas's son.
Nice segue.
And we were thinking about how decisions have consequences. Decisions have consequences years and years and years later, and sometimes you can make decisions dimly foreseeing consequences.
Or not.
Or not, yes. In my case, it was because of my family's, severe high blood pressure problems, and I realized early on, sometimes, obviously sometimes in my teenage years, that if I didn't become a physician, I wouldn't get properly treated for this stuff, and so I died.
Nor would he be here right now.
Well, obviously no. So
nice challenge.
Death tends to do that.
I started taking blood pressure stuff when I was 25 years old.
25.
Yes, 25. 1970. Well, let's see. 25.
It's 77.
Yeah, I did, because yes, when I was in anesthesia residency, I started taking Indrol. And so Tom started talking about, when he would have one of these kind of three-year-old screaming jacks. He didn't do that very often, but sometimes he would do that. I'd take my blood pressure, it'd be like 220. And I would be in runs of VTAC. If I went in VTAC, I was in, very, very severe PAT. A lot of times I'd give myself one of these big chest lumps, break myself out of it. So Well, yeah, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So it occurred to me that even though I had considered other jobs like being a lawyer or teaching history or being an agronomist or, you know, getting involved in agriculture, uh, you know, I had an offer of a full scholarship to the ag college, by the way, which I turned down. Didn't tell my folks about it until after my dad was dead and my mother's, you know, was getting ready to cack off. She said, "Oh." See, can I use that voice? Can I use that voice for my
Yeah,
mother?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I can't use it for his mother, but I can use it for my mother.
Why can't you use it for? I mean, it's kind of a similar.
Well, it's, you know, it has to do with, well, anyway, attitude. Anyway, so she says, well, if we'd known that, if you'd told us that, then, you know, I said,
I
well,
would have been okay.
no. Anyway, so that, you know, so anyway, but the point is that actions have consequences and intuitions and as Thomas was bringing out, and here's the real point. The grace of God, the Holy Ghost, pierces you with His grace from time to time with insights that no man neither knows nor senses, but yet perceives. Now work through those synonyms, guys. And because of that, I'm here, he's here, Carter's here. Thanks be to God.
And Kelly.
I think that's about it.
And Kelly. And Thomas seems to think this is a good time to break off.
I think that's good. I mean, you just.
Well, that's
you hit
right.
the high note.
No, anything else
Yeah,
would be just.
Denouement over. Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So bye-bye, YouTubers, and obviously I'm going to keep y'all updated on this computer saga. All righty.
And we'll see you later.
You will.
Bye-bye now.
Have a good afternoon, day.